My introduction to the YMCA swimming pool, it revived, it brought back unpleasant memories and steered childish fears. Douglas says when he went to the YMCA pool, when he was in the swimming pool, it brought back the childish fear. But in a while, I gathered confidence. I paddled with my water wings, watching the other boys and trying to learn by aping them, by copying them. Initially, when Douglas was in the pool, he was frightened. He was reminded of his childish fear of water. But slowly, he was able to gain confidence. There were two things that gave him confidence. Number one, his water wings. And number two, when he saw other children swimming in the water, that gave him confidence. I did this 2 or 3 times on different days and was just beginning to feel at ease in the water when the misadventure happened. He says that gradually he was getting confidence, but one day the misadventure happened. Now, what was the misadventure? I went to the pool when no one else was there. One day it so happened that Douglas was all alone at the pool. The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tiled bottom was as white and clean as a bathtub. I was timid about going in alone. Douglas was timid. He was shy about going in the water alone because he was not quite confident. He was gaining confidence. So I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. I had not been there long when in came a big bruiser of a boy. There came a big muscular boy, probably 18 years old. Douglas was sitting at the side of the pool waiting for others to come. In the meantime, there came a big, strong, muscular boy who was probably 18 years old. He had thick hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen with legs and arms that showed rippling muscles. He yelled. That muscular boy, he shouted, "Hi Skinny, how would you like to be ducked? How would you like if you are thrown into the water?" And with that, he picked me up and tossed me, threw me into the deep end. With that, he picked Douglas up and threw him into the deep end. I landed in a sitting position. Douglas says that he landed in the water in the same sitting position only, swallowed water and went at once to the bottom. I was frightened, but not yet frightened out of my wits, when all of a sudden Douglas was thrown into the water in a sitting position. He says that he was frightened. He was physically frightened because he was not prepared for the same. But he says that he was not frightened out of his wits. His intellect, it was working. His mind was working. On the way down, I planned. When my feet hit the bottom, I would make a big jump, come to the surface, lie flat on it, and paddle to the edge of the pool. So when Douglas was going down, he was planning. He was planning on a strategy to come out. His strategy was that when his feet would hit the bottom, he would make a big jump. With this, he would come to the surface, then he would lie flat on the surface and paddle to the edge of the pool. It seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90. And before I touched bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. But when my feet hit bottom, I gathered all my strength and made what I thought was a great spring, a great jump upwards. I imagined that I would bob. I would jump to the surface like a cock. But instead, I came up slowly. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water. So Douglas was working on a strategy that when his feet would hit the bottom, he would make a big jump, and with that jump, he would come to the surface. He would lie flat on the surface and then paddle to the edge of the pool. But he was a small boy. He was a thin, weak boy who did not know much about swimming. So the 9 feet deep appeared more like 90. He had imagined that when his feet would hit the bottom, he would jump up on the surface like a cock. But it did not happen. Rather, he was coming out very slow. When he came out, On the surface, he saw nothing but water. Water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it. I grew panicky. He said I was frightened. I reached up as if to grab a rope, and my hands clutched only at water. He wanted to catch some rope which could pull him out, but he said my hands only clutched at water. I was suffocating because I was not getting enough oxygen to breathe in. I tried to yell, I tried to shout, but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water, but not my mouth. So this is the first attempt of Douglas to come out of water, which was futile. Okay, rest we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.